What do you think, Varun, can be done to extend the reach? One, you of course said bringing down the ticket size is one option, but spreading it, bringing down the ticket size may increase the numbers, but what about the reach? I think the reach is the issue if you want to really say mutual funds are here to everybody.
Right. Very, very interesting question, Sourav. Thank you. So I have a lot of thoughts here. I will try to structure it a little bit. See, first of all, I completely agree with what Mr. Amarjit ji was saying. We are still like looking at where we were and saying that we have reached 4 crore and we are saying, okay, this great. I'm sure this number is going to double up more before and faster than we can even realize, right? There is in any industry, or especially in our industry, which is more knowledge based, which requires a certain bit of a certain bit of distributors to which requires education, right? Which is not really taught to the end investors. We need a certain tipping point. We need an inflection point, which I think now has been reached by constantly telling people that mutual funds say, mutual fund has become a name which people recognize. People might not be investing, but they recognize. And that itself is a tipping point, right? So, but as was one of the key things, I think, which was coming up in the last panel also, that there are distributors who are addressing different markets, different industries, different segments of users in India. We have distributors who are addressing the top of the market, which is, you will find a lot of MFDs or HNI, wealth companies, which are in top tier 1 cities, T30 cities. Then you find a lot of digital companies which are primarily bottom of the pyramid, right? They are catering to users who are 500 rupees SIP, 1000 rupees SIP. But there is a large segment of middle India who need hand-holding, who needs advisory, which is still finding whom should I go to, whom should I go get this advisory from. And then they of course cannot be catered by the top tier of the, of the distributors or the wealth managers, and not definitely by the digital players. So for us to reach out to that, I wholeheartedly believe that there has to be a very long tail of distributors. We don't have sufficient number of on-ground distributors, which this country desperately needs, right? Insurance, as was pointed out by Mr. Singh in the last, it has 2 million plus distributors. We, in our industry, which is less than 1 lakh, right? So what can we do to basically increase those number of distributors? How can we enable them in the new context, right? As the way industry has evolved, how can we make this business sustainable for them so that they basically serve the end customer?
And also train them because of the new,
yes,
emergent technologies and the emergent trends.
Absolutely. So that is one of the key challenges we have taken up in our AMC, because we believe that end customers can be served only by a distributor. You go to UP, right? You go to any city, like I am from Ujjain. I go to Ujjain and no one is investing online, right? There is people, if they invest online, they will only invest, let's say, like 1% of their overall net worth. As soon as it crosses a certain point where it becomes a substantial money for them, they need someone who can come and tell them where to invest, right? So I firmly believe that is the single answer, that we need to create a long tail of distributors. All the existing distributors have to start increasing and reach out to different set of investors. And we as an AMC has to, or we as a group of AMCs have to work in that direction.
Dhiraj, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd like to add one point here for sure, that I think we are missing one plot here, is that affluence. Currently, we are a low per capita country. We are just at about $2,500 per capita. The moment we reaches to 5,000, which will happen in next 4 to 6 years time, I think that would change the fabric of the society. The consumption will also be at a very different level, and the savings will also be at a different level also. So that affluence is required to get more and more participation. Right now, large part of Indian population is busy in meeting their basic needs only. So that's something, with change in the per capita, the things will change, and that's where we'll see more and more participation coming in. Of course, the reach and richness of offer has to be there to get more and more investors to participate in the mutual funds. As long as the reach is there, which is through either distributors or through the digital platforms, both will work hand in hand. My take is that it's not either or strategy. It has to be both strategies, and also richness of offer also. It has to beat the underlying comparative asset class, which is fixed deposit. Today, if you look at mutual fund AUM as a proportion of fixed deposits or total liabilities in the banking ecosystem, I think it's just about 24-25%. If 48 lakh crores, and my last memory, if my memory supports me right, it was 188 lakh crore in the banking liabilities in the banking system. And so it's just about 24%. And this is growing at, mutual fund AUM is growing at a 16% CAGR, whereas deposits have been growing at a 11% CAGR. From that point of view, I think by 2030, on an enhanced based, it would be a third of the total disposable investments that would be available in the market. So one shift from deposits to mutual fund, different asset classes in mutual fund, and on top of it, financialization of savings, money moving in from our real assets to physical assets to the financial assets. I think that's something we need to work on, and of course, the distribution will help in this.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.